Shah Jahan Ali Ahmed has a mammoth task. He has to reassure thousands of his fellow residents of Assam that they won't be stateless soon. This family was recently left off the Draft National Register of Citizens, or NRC. It's a government list that identifies long-term residents of India and excludes those considered illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. Shah Jahan is frank, telling them their chances of making it onto the final list are slim. They would have to appeal a decision against them.
We don't have enough money to go to the tribunals. My father is a daily wage laborer. Our financial condition isn't good. We have a lot of money worries.
Shah Jahan works tirelessly to help those excluded understand the paperwork linked to the appeals process. It isn't simply the financial burden that weighs on these families. It is also an emotional drain to have to prove something they thought defined their identity.
If all my ancestors were Indians, how can I be Bangladeshi? This is why I'm so saddened by this. It's very difficult for me to fight these cases.
In his effort to help, Shah Jahan has dealt with countless painful stories. The first was in his own home. They thought everything was in order. But 30 out of 33 members of his family were left off the draft NRC. Already, they have spent thousands of rupees to attend hearings. Another question that preoccupies those excluded is what would become of them. Shah Jahan wonders if Indian authorities would create a village of so-called foreigners, make them second-class citizens, or perhaps even strip their resident rights and only grant work permits.
I am a genuine Indian. My grandfather is Indian. My father was born here. I was born here. Why would we accept this? There will be protests.
Critics of the NRC have said it would heavily target Bengali-speaking Muslims on the assumption that they are from Bangladesh, a Muslim-majority country. Yet, many of those excluded in draft lists are migrants from the Indian state of West Bengal. The Hindu nationalist BJP government insists this is a way to oust illegal Bangladeshi immigrants, not genuine Indians.
We need the NRC because many illegal Bangladeshi intruders have entered Assam. As a result, the rights and identities of the indigenous people of Assam have been threatened.
The stories on the ground show otherwise. For many people here, an uphill battle is only just beginning.
For those left off of the final list of citizens, this may well be the last resort. Foreigner tribunals like this one are being set up across the state to field appeals from those who have been excluded, and they hold the power to reverse these exclusions.
People can ultimately take their matter all the way to the Supreme Court. But such a lengthy appeals process is challenging.
To engage a good lawyer, and for this they need resources, they need money. And as most of the people belong to the lower strata of the society, for them it will be a Herculean task to gather that resources and fight that legal battle.
In homes across Assam, there is only one thing left to do: wait. As the government finalizes the names of those who deserve to be Indian, a core identity of millions hangs in the balance.
For more, let's bring in DW correspondent Nimisha Jaiswal. She traveled to Assam a few days ago and met with those most worried about the new NRC. Nimisha, now that 2 million people have not been included in that list, what are their biggest concerns? For example, might they actually be forced to leave the country?
Well, Michael, for now, a small amount of good news for these 2 million people is that the government has assured that until all legal processes are exhausted, until all the appeals processes are exhausted, nobody would be declared a foreigner, nobody would be deported, nobody would be detained. Now, these people can appeal to what are called foreigner tribunals. There are about 100 of these in Assam right now, just 100, make note, for 2 million people. They're planning to add 900 more, 200 in the next month itself. But if the foreigner tribunal turns your way, there is a course of reprieve through the High Court and eventually all the way up to the Supreme Court. But it's also important to note that the people who have been left off, if they were already left off earlier from the draft list, which is very likely, they've already gone through a very expensive appeals process. Many of those left out are uneducated and from a poorer economic background. So this has already been a very expensive process for them, and it is very difficult that they would have the means to appeal all the way to the Supreme Court. The center is promising some kind of legal aid, but it isn't quite clear exactly how this would be distributed.
So, Nimisha, just in a brief period of time here, very shortly, could the list end up separating families? It sounds like what you're saying is not immediately.
Yes. Yes, Michael, not immediately, but all the people who have been left off from the draft, it has been found that there have been many families where the names of 2 people were there, but the names of 10 people were not there. One of the families I met, of 33 people, 30 people were left off, 3 were left behind. So depending on what action is taken, there is a good chance that families could be separated because of this.
Critics say Modi's Hindu nationalist BJP party is using this census to target members of the Muslim minority. Are these claims true?
Well, Michael, the government will tell you that there are Hindu names as well as Muslim names on this list. However, activists and people on the ground have found that most of the names are Muslim and Bengali-speaking Muslims because they are more suspected of being Bangladeshis from the neighboring country. The other thing to keep in mind is that another law that has been passed in Indian Parliament says that Hindus have the right to be brought onto the citizenship lists of India, that they should be granted citizenships by nature of being Hindu. So there's a chance that even those who are left off the list and are Hindu might get the citizenship back later. So it's pretty safe to say that this could end up potentially targeting Muslims more.
DW's Nimisha Jaiswal, thank you so much.